Hey gang, this is Tim from Tim on the Fly, and we're out here at one of my favorite Corps of Engineers reservoirs. It's about mid-September. Nice morning, a little bit of wind, which is good on this lake. Some cloud cover, which is even better. Both of those conditions hopefully will make up for the fact that it was a mostly full moon last night, and I have the feeling a lot of the fish we're after were probably feeding pretty heavy last night, but we'll see what happens. I'm hoping for some white bass. I'm hoping for some smallmouth. Really, I'm hoping for anything I can catch, as usual. But I've got a couple of spots I want to try. This is just the first one. I'm going to fish across this point over to that other point over there. And then if nothing happens there, if nothing happens over on this point over here, then I'm going to go ahead and try a couple other spots that I've been wanting to check out. This is the first time this year I've made it to this lake. I really wanted to get up here in the spring for crappie, white bass, smallmouth in the spring, but it never happened. So we're here, it's late summer, and we're going to see what we can make happen. We got something on, something with a little size to it. By a little size, I mean bigger than the bluegills I've been catching. Looks like a white bass. Not a real big one, but a white bass. It's a white bass, barely hooked, which is exactly what it is. There we go. Yep, barely hooked. There we go. So the day's not a total waste. Been out here for about an hour now. Had a few little bitty hits, but that's the first actual fish, so. Should be ideal. You'd think they'd be in here all over the place. It's cloudy, there's a little bit of a wind. The only thing is there was a full moon last night, or very nearly full moon. And that means that most of these fish might have been feeding heavy in the night and just might not. They might be here and just not be on the feed today. That one not hitting any harder than he did might have been an indicator that that's exactly the case. But, hey, better than not being here at all. Just getting ready to move to another spot. We'll give this a couple more casts, and then I think I probably still will. Okay, well that does it for spot number one. Off to spot number two, and we'll see if it's any better. Okay, so here we are out on the second spot. We're a little bit more shielded from the wind here, but not by a whole lot. You can see we've got a lot of little rocky areas and stuff that might make good ambush points for smallmouth and white bass. It's not horribly deep in here, so we're starting to lose our cloud cover, and that may say bad things for it, but we're going to give it a try anyway because it's been really good in the past. And the clouds look like they might roll in again. It's supposed to stay partly to mostly cloudy all day. The order I hit these spots in was kind of based on that idea, so we'll see what happens. Because this may or may not be a good place, but it's definitely going to be a place worth giving a shot to. Okay, so as pretty as this point is, and as good as it looks like it should be, Water's awful clear, sun's awful bright. It's not very deep, and there just doesn't really seem to be any fish here. So there's a rock jetty that's between me and the car. I think we'll stop and fish it for a couple of minutes and see if anything's happening. If nothing happens there, I think we're going to make a run for Plan C. Alright, so Plan B didn't work out so well. Plan A was okay. I caught a fish, had a couple of bites that I didn't manage to land. It wasn't as good as I hoped, but you know, that's why they call it fishing, not catching. Plan B was a total loss. The sun came out, the wind came up, and the wind would have been manageable if I'd have been catching fish, but I wasn't catching fish, so the wind wasn't worth it. So we're off to Plan C. You should always have a Plan C. Plan C should be a couple of different things. It should be accessible. There should be a reasonable chance of success. If your definition of success is adjusted somewhat downward from Plan A and Plan B, which by now, if you're going to Plan C, it probably should be. And if at all possible, it should be on the way home. And this one is. So let's head to Plan C. All right, so here we are at Plan C. And Plan C should be calculated to check off all the boxes that Plan B fails at and Plan A failed at. In this case, the water's a little dingier, a little darker, so the sun being out shouldn't matter as much. It's mostly out of the wind down in this little bowl. And there's very few times I've been here and not been able to catch at least something. Plan A and B, the goal was smallmouth and white bass. Plan C, the goal is anything, just as long as it gets the skunk off. Well, I guess I'm not really skunked today. I did have one fish, but one fish is pretty close to skunkiness. So you can still kind of smell it from there. All right, the smaller fly turned out to be just the ticket. Put on a little micro clouser, and sure enough, look at that little bluegill. Not what was finning out there and tailing out there, but you know, we'll take him. He's a fish, and there hasn't been a lot of those today. So there we go. That's what Plan C is for, is to fix a bad day. And it doesn't really matter how. There we go. This lighter fly is letting me throw up in there and the rocks a little closer. Let's go change our position a little bit. Give ourselves a little better angle. Alright, we just kind of moved down here a little bit and we've got something else on. Whatever this is not a bluegill. This is what's been tailing down. Oh, little white bass. Little white bass about the size of the one we caught up on the lake. Maybe just a little bit smaller, but we'll take him. It'll give us a chance to get a hold of him. There we go. Back out in the water. Plan C to the rescue again. See if we can't do that again real quick. See, we're down here, we're down just right in that current seam, where we can let the fly drift through and just kind of work it. And we got a light enough fly that it's not going to get hung up in these rocks very easily. And the only reason we didn't start out here is that we had two fish finning just right here that I was going to try to catch. There we go, there's another one. This just seems to be all stacked up with these little white bass right up in here. That's good though. Oh no, little baby wiper. Little baby wiper. Hey, 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 hey. Whoop. There we go. Come on. Yeah, get you back out in the water. And the nice thing about this is I got that whole width I can fish. So if I spook them out of one stretch, I can just pop pop it into another. And those wipers and white bass are just going to hang in there. They're not going to spook out nearly as easy. There we go. These guys are little, but they're fun. So all you got to do really is adjust your expectations a little bit from plan A and plan B, and I almost even brought down the lighter rod expecting these little fish, but on that first cast it's a good thing I didn't have the lighter rod. Oh man. Hate that. Snagged up on somebody's line that they left in there. Probably gonna break off a fly just because somebody decided they needed to use 10,000 pound braid. Yep. Okay, well, I think we're going to tie on another fly and then we're going to move down below and see if that's rested enough. Only got a few more minutes to fish and then I got to get going. So, but plan C has definitely paid off, so glad I stopped by. Alright, here we go. We got something else here. Something with a little pull to him. Oh, a little channel cat. We're getting just a little bit of everything. Little bitty channel, pretty little channel cat. See if we can get a hold of him without him spiking us. There we go. Got little spots. Little juvenile. Pretty little guy. Back in the water you go. Plan C. A little bit of an adjustment in expectations and the fun is back. There we go. What do we got here? Another little guy, whatever it is. Oh, little drum. Little drum. Getting a little bit of everything, and they're all little. We're getting little bits of a little bit of everything. There we go. Nicer drum. I knew we'd get paid off with something decent if we just kept at it. He gobbled that puppy up. Get him over here on the beach. Get in there and get that out of you. Yeah. Nice little drum. Actually, nice, pretty good sized drum. A little bit is on the skinny side, but they are in these spillways a lot this time of year. Food's a little bit thin, but he's a nice one. He pulled hard. Gave us a nice day, our nice fish fair hooked on a day when those weren't coming too fast. So we'll take it. And we're gonna probably call that a stopping spot, unless something happens while I'm saying goodbye to you here, because I'm gonna keep casting. But we're gonna call that kind of the end of the day. It's time to kind of get back home and start thinking about doing a few other things. But nice little 3-plan day, with plan C being the one that finally saved it. And hope you enjoyed riding along. Glad to have you. As always, good luck fishing and tight lines. We'll see you in the next one.